Okay, it's been a long time since I had Harry at church. I've been getting complaints. But they also tell me that offerings are up when Harry preaches. So he's going to be on every second week from now on. No, maybe not. So I thought it's time to get Harry out. Now you know how to get Harry out. We have to say 1, 2, 3, wake up Harry. Do you think you can do that? Not very keen there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, some loudness there, some loudness there. Here we go again. 1, 2, 3. Who's been cooking bread? That's not your usual welcome, Harry. Yeah, but who's been cooking bread? Oh, well, that was me, Harry. I've been cooking bread. Oh, well, that's so annoying. I was trying to sleep, and all I could smell was bread. Bread, bread, bread. I dreamed I was in a hot dog bun. And then I was getting eaten by a giant hot cross dog. It was horrible. That does sound like a weird dream. Who else is hungry? Anyone else hungry? Yes. You better make this a short message, Paul. Okay. I was actually hoping that you would do today's message, Harry. Now, Paul, you can't rely on me for the rest of your life to grow your church and make kids like you. You're going to have to grow up and leave home one day, make it on your own. But, Harry, so I've decided I'm going to listen to your message today and interrupt you whenever it gets boring or dodgy or anything like that. Do you have to, Harry? Yes, I have to. Why can't, just for once, you be the straight guy and I be the funny guy? Because you're just not funny, Paul. Not at all. Oh, except for your looks, that's funny. Okay then. Today's sermon, Jesus feeds 5,000. So the disciples have been on mission and Harry, Paul, I'm going to have to interrupt. Already, Harry? Yep. You got to engage the kids more. Come on, ask them a question. You know, like, who would have loved to have been there when Jesus turned one loaf of bread in enough for an army? Who would have liked to be there? Anyone? See, that's how you do it, Paul. Okay. Who would have liked to have been there when Jesus... No, you can't ask that question. I just asked it. That just makes you look stupid. Now, Harry, can you just let me get on with it? We're going to be here all day. Only interrupt when I say something really dumb. I thought you wanted me to interrupt less. Just don't interrupt, right? Right? Okay, we've established that it would have been really nice to be there when Jesus did this miracle, but we can't. We don't have a time machine, and we don't have a machine that would allow us to travel in time. You just said that. But in this story, the disciples have just been on mission. And Jesus had told them to go into the community to show and tell the good news. And they came back and they were telling excitedly all the things that had happened. The demons had run away. That's right. The demons had run away and sick people had been made well. And they were so excited. They chatted to Jesus for ages and ages. And they were so excited they forgot to eat. Has that ever happened to anyone here? They're so excited talking about things they've forgotten to eat. Philip's happened to him. I was so busy once, I forgot to eat for a month. You forgot to eat for a whole month? What were you doing? Trying to get out of the cupboard you locked me in. Yeah, we'll just keep that to ourselves, Harry. Anyway, Jesus took them away in a boat. So he sort of thought, let's get away from everyone else. But a bunch of people saw them and they followed them on foot. Yeah, we know what happened. Jason did a drama. Don't have to repeat that bit. Okay, Harry. So Jesus turned 5 loaves into enough for 5,000. So I've got some things here that I'm going to give the kids. Oh, I like that. Visuals. That'll help. That's good, Harry. Very good. Now, if you think about, I don't know if you've ever been near a crowd of 5,000. I've been near crowds of 1,000, maybe even 40,000. There, you would need thousands, 1,000 loaves of bread to feed a crowd of 5,000. But Jesus only had 5, yet it turned out that 5 was enough. So today, I want to teach everyone here 5 things that we can learn from this story. For a moment there, I thought you were going to try 1,000 things. First, this is what the kingdom of heaven is like. Who wants to stick this one up on the wall? Okay, up on the whiteboard there. This is what the kingdom of heaven is like. What, crazy puppets on stage? No, not this. The story is what the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven is like. Jesus was telling the people the kingdom of God is coming. The kingdom of God is close. It's near. It's so close you can smell it, you can touch it, you can taste it. And the kingdom of God, this is a really important line, the kingdom of God is anywhere where God is king. The kingdom of God isn't a place, it's anywhere where God is king. That becomes the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God. So that means it actually starts now. It's not in the sky when we die. The kingdom of heaven starts now, and it's so good it continues when we die. Jesus was showing that when God is king, there is enough. When God is king, there's enough. In fact, there's more than enough. I always wondered why they had leftovers. I thought God was saying we didn't have to eat the crusts. Well, maybe you could say it like that. In God's gang, you don't have to eat your crusts because there's enough. When we make God king, there is enough. Wow, that sounds like a cool place. Well, that brings me to my second bun, because I think it is a cool place. Yeah, you can come and do this. Our second bun, here, I'll give you the next one. You can have this one. Mason, you can have the next one. Yeah, not yet. Just wait. Keen kids. The second bun is church. This story shows us what church should be like. Because church is supposed to be a taste of heaven. The church is supposed to be a community of people who make God their king. A place where there is enough because we share with each other, because we care for each other, and because God supplies our need. Now, I dream that we here at RUC can be more and more like this. A taste of heaven, a place where people come and find what they need. That's why Jesus heals the sick. That's why he feeds them. That's why he helps them, because he's bringing them what they need. And that's why the church through history has done the hard work of building hospitals, of having things like Blue Care and Lifeline, even schools. Schools are good. Yep, they teach you to read. That's why we as a church are involved in El Shaddai, giving from the heart, and chaplaincy, because Stuart's one of these people who's going around helping people find what they need. Oh, I'm not going to make fun of that. That's a wonderful thing. Oh, a place where people find enough. But hang on though, I just thought of something. Why did Jesus help these people? I mean, he was trying to get away from them. How come he changed his mind? Well, that's bun number 3. You can have that one, Mason. You can stick that one up right up the top. Oh, well done. Get that blue tack. Bun number 3 says shepherds, because it says in the story, Jesus saw the huge crowd there and he had great compassion on them. It says the word compassion comes from your guts in the Bible. He had great compassion on them because they were like a sheep without a shepherd. So Jesus is the great shepherd, or the good shepherd. Man, that's a bit of an insult to his followers. Okay, I'll take that as a comment, Harry. In the Old Testament, There's lots of passages that talk about the bad shepherds of Israel, the bad leaders, and God says, these leaders are so bad, they don't do the right thing, they don't help the people. And God says, one day I will come and I will be your good shepherd. And so Jesus is God's good shepherd. Hang on, Paul. Yeah, Harry? But God said he would come. He would be the shepherd. Does that mean Jesus is... Well, that's the next loaf of bread. Remember our most important question for the first half of the Gospel of Mark? Do you remember the most important question, Harry? I sure do. Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? No, Harry, it's nothing to do with Harry's, nothing to do with cookies. It was the most important question for the first half of our study in Mark is, who is this man? So Philip, you can come and put secret identity up. Because this story helps us to see more of Jesus' secret identity. It's being creative. Remember I said this story is a murder mystery. We know who's going to die, but the mystery is why. Who is this man? And there's lots of echoes in this story of important Old Testament people. We've got Moses. Moses was the man who helped birth the nation of Israel through the gushing waters of the Red Sea. He shepherded them through 40 years in the wilderness, giving them the law and giving them bread miraculously from heaven. He fed them. Hey, today Jesus miraculously feeds a crowd in the wilderness with bread too. That's right, Harry. And in fact, you remember he picked up 12 basketfuls? That's so we'll think of the 12 tribes of Israel. Wow, so there's a new Moses in town, a new lawgiver and community builder. That's exactly right, Harry. I couldn't have said it any better myself. There's an obvious reason for that. Then there was Elijah and Elisha, and they were considered by the Jewish nation to be the two greatest prophets of all time. The Lockyer and Lewis of prophets. I don't know where you come up with this stuff, Harry. So Elijah, the first prophet, he went and lived with a widow in a drought, and she had only enough flour and oil in her jars for one last loaf of bread. And she was going to make the last loaf of bread and eat it with her son. And then she thought, we're going to die. We're going to starve to death after that. But Elijah came to live with them. And while Elijah was there, the jar of flour and the jar of oil never ran out. They always had enough until the drought broke. Wow, if only it had been a jar of Tim Tams, it would be the perfect story. Meanwhile, Elisha, one time, 100 soldiers had come to him and said, feed us, feed us, feed us, we're chasing our enemy, feed us, we're starving. And he only had 20 buns of bread. And Elisha told his servant, take these 20 buns and give them to the 100 soldiers. And the servant said, no way, I'm not doing that. If I don't give these soldiers enough, they'll bash me up. That's exactly what the servant said. But Elijah said, serve them anyway, because God had said, they shall eat and have leftovers. So the servant gave these soldiers 20 buns, and they ate and had leftovers. Oh wow, so not only is Jesus a new Moses, Jesus is a new prophet in town. That's right, so he's a lawgiver, a community builder, a prophet. But not only that, in this story, Jesus showed that he has the power of God. He made something out of nothing. He miraculously multiplied matter. Hang on though, maybe he just got everyone to share their stuff. Well, sharing's not a bad thing. In fact, sharing is something we should all do. But Mark makes it very clear that this wasn't sharing. The people had come spontaneously. They weren't prepared. They were in a deserted place where there was no food. But not only that, the next time this happens, and a lot of people don't realise, this happens again in a few weeks when Jesus feeds 4,000. And Jesus again says to the disciples, you give them something to eat. And they didn't think, Okay, everyone, sit down and share. They didn't say that. They didn't know what to do because, again, they knew that Jesus had done something miraculous. God's divine power was in Jesus in this story. Wow. Jesus is as good as Moses, the prophets, the new king who comes as the good shepherd with God's power. Paul, yeah, Harry? I think I know Jesus' secret identity. Shh, don't tell anyone. Let them work it out for themselves. And finally, our last loaf. Kids, what do you do with bread? Hayley, what do you do with bread? Eat it! I grow mould on mine and eat the mould. Bread is a really, really basic food around the world. In other countries, it's like rice or potatoes or corn, maize. And without bread, people go hungry and starve and die. And the Jews, knowing this, they saw bread as a gift from heaven. They thought, manna from heaven. This is a gift of God that comes from heaven. And it's something that if we don't have, we can't live. So the disciple John, after he went through the feeding of the 5,000, he called Jesus bread from heaven. And this is the best loaf of all. It's a big word. It says substance. Honey. Jesus is the substance of all life. Jesus is essential to a life well lived. I was listening to the radio this week and they had a poet on there. And he was a very famous poet and he got really unwell and he couldn't write. He had 3 years where he couldn't get any poetry to come to him. And he found God in that moment. And he said, since I found God, there's been a joy in my life I never had before. I never had before. Because Jesus is this substance to life. If we make Jesus the King of our life, He is here with us, helping us through all of life's ups and downs, helping us have enough. So Paul, if I'm hearing you right, it doesn't matter what you think about Jesus. It doesn't matter what I think about Jesus. What really matters is what each one of you, each individual thinks about Jesus. Exactly right. The question is, who do you say Jesus is?